I've actually made this little pole. I think it's 15mm speed fit water pipe, just to see if it will go in here, because I measured this at 15 to 16 and yeah, it doesn't fit. I'm glad I didn't go for it and make one out of wood. What I'm going to do is fit something in there that'll end up being my flag pole, and then we'll probably put a little screw or just some retaining clip in there that will allow that to come out at an angle and the flag to fly. So just some other things I got this week was some 10mm 8m mooring line. These have got the mooring loop built in, and I did notice this line that came with the boat just kept snapping. I was actually down here a couple of Saturdays ago with the family, just having a play on the lake with the motor, and yeah, so we were practicing, you know, with the mooring lines, and they kept snapping. I think this one here, we did find a length that had some strength to it, but I think I think they're a bit old, so we're replacing those with these two, which will stay on the boat. And the other things I've got here are two cam cleats. So I don't know if they're big enough, you know, for this halyard. I'm just going to have these underneath here, so they'll go underneath the thwart really, to just make it a little bit easier to tension the jib downhaul, and maybe the gaff halyard, or potentially the this blue line, which will pull the leech or the luff of the sail in to the boat, keep it nice and tight. So I've got a bit more immediate control over that. If I'm reaching, I want to loosen it. If I'm beating, I want to tighten it up, or, you know, in heavier winds, I want to tighten it up. So there's a few things there that I've got as well. So you can see at the bottom here, there's quite a bit of water. There's not that much water, to be frank. I think you're supposed to worry when it starts hitting the underneath of the floorboards, but I want to try and get that out. Now my problem is this this pump isn't working, this bilge pump's just not working. And then it just stopped working, so we've got to have a look at that. But in the meantime, because the bucket's probably a bit big to get down into the bottom here, the bucket's only really useful if the water gets, you know, you have a broach or a capsize and you need to, you know, get water right up here. But in the meantime, we've got a sponge. It's not the biggest sponge in the world, but the best way of getting the water out of here is just to raise one of the floorboards. Whoops. Probably not the best one to have. That's it. And just get the sponge, soak it up. Just like that. I don't know how long that's going to take me to do. You see, you get quite a lot out of a sponge. I've just actually spotted my mirror scoop. I'm going to go this way because I don't want to get one of my sails are over the boat there. But it's a big boat and it can carry a lot of water in the bilges here. So that's why it's got a bilge pump. You need to sort of be quite mindful of it. Oh, I can see this going down substantially already. But if I'm going on the water today, it's a little bit rough. I want this as empty as I can get it, because if we start filling up with water, that's not a good thing. Right, that's one dry boat. There's just literally a centimetre of water just in the middle here, but it's out the cupboard. It does drain, and usually the bung is in the back here. So the bung won't really drain a lot of the water out. I'm interested to know whether that bung goes underwater when the boat's in the water, whether you could use it to drain the boat. But anyway, the boat's nice and dry really now, so that's the next job done. One thing I did notice was when I went on the cruise on the other Drascombe out there the other week, he had his bilge pump here, drilled through here, with a pipe coming right down here and through, or wherever it went, and it operated like that. And I think that pump was a lot higher rated than the one I've got down here, certainly easier to use, and it came with like a snap-on lever, so you could take the lever out and then, you know, you could literally snap the cover over, a little bit like the electric covers and that on my van, and you could almost, he said you can actually sit on it, but actually the cleats are in the way anyway, so you know, that's something I might consider. But I think as an immediate problem, I've got to get this bilge pump down here fixed, replaced, whatever. Interestingly, he found this little cubby hole extremely useful for putting computers into, things like that. So his wallet had a little net over here, so that's worth thinking about as well. You know, you could build this up and have a little cubby hole in there that would be quite useful actually. So that's the next job anyway. The first thing I've got to do is get this line moved. Now this is the dagger board or the centreboard downhaul. Now this should let the dagger board go down, but it's not going to go down much because it actually rests on the trailer, so there's not an awful lot I can do about that. This line is like a safety feature that was added to a lot of these boats. There was, well, to be honest with you, there's one case of a capsize and the dagger board slipped back into the box, so there was absolutely no way. The boat went turtle in the sea and there was no way they could get the boat righted because the dagger board had vanished. To be frank, on a mirror dinghy, if you didn't have the dagger board, there's no way you'd right that either. So, you know, to be fair, so this is, once you've got the dagger board down, this is designed to allow to hold the dagger board in place so it can't retract. But actually at the moment I've just noticed it's actually holding the dagger board. I keep calling it a dagger board because that's what you have in a mirror dinghy, but I think it's called a centreboard on this boat. I think the difference is a dagger board is one you push in and out. A centreboard is one that has a pivot on it. So let's have a quick look at this. Yeah, I can see when that comes over to here, you'd want to keep that pulled back. So what you may do is actually pull it back. You can see there, you would pull it back. We'll have to work out how it's done. It may just be a line around here that stops it from retracting back down. We'll work out how that works. And then we've got this red thing here, which I have no idea what is, but it is looped around this dagger board. So that must do something too. Not quite sure what. Yeah, you can see though the dagger board gets stuck there. So next job, get these screws off. Some of these screws are not really biting so well, so ultimately this board's going to need to be sorted. This screw's a little bit bent as well. I'm going to try and leave the screws in situ if I can, so I keep them in the same position, because if we change the screw, you might not like that. I don't think this teak centreboard cover is kind of essential for the operation of the boat, other than it's a great place to sit, and it's got the cleats and the things here on it as well, so probably a little bit more essential than I'm giving it credit for. There's just 8 screws that hold it on. They go straight into the fiberglass underneath, I think. It is actually cracked here, I don't know if you can see that on the camera. So the other thing I'm going to do is take a measurement of this and see if we can get a new one made up. I can get, there seems to be lots of people on eBay with Ikori or Iroki or whatever it is, teak. How legitimate it is, I don't know, being on eBay, but there we go. So that's the bottom of the, or the top of the centreboard case. Well, you can see where there's, I tried to put some raw plugs in there. These just need redoing. Yeah. Right, and now the next job is to get this out, but I've got a horrible feeling I've forgotten my spanners again. But at least we can maybe have a look at the pump. So I've just tried to get these bolts out with the only thing I've got with me, so these pliers, and I can't really get them in anyway. It's going to be fiddly with a spanner, that. And this one, I just managed to get them in, and quite frankly, these bolts look pretty damn seized. So you can maybe just, let me just do that. You might be able to see, the GoPro's not very good at short shots, close-ups, but they are quite well seized, so they're spinning the spindles around with them. So I think this is going to be a bit of a tough job. One thing that did spring to mind though, is if we get the boat on the water, we could capsize her and then gently bring her into shore. Maybe even try and turtle the boat and bring her into shore, get the centreboard, you know, right out, and then we'd have access to her. I don't know how, imagine we can't turtle her because I can't get to the underneath. I don't know how viable that is, but we could try and get her into shallow water and try and capsize her so we can work on her. I've just got to get these 4 bolts out and that's it really. So yeah, in the meantime, I think the quickest way we'll get the boat seaworthy is to go with this option and get a bilge pump in here, which I prefer anyway. I quite frankly, I hate this. It's horrible. It's horrible. The other thing that whale pumps do, they do a little electric 12-volt one, tiny little thing that can sit on down here, and it operates off a 12-volt battery that you could probably charge with a small solar panel that I've already got. So the sun's come out, so I don't know if you can see any of this, but the first thing you need to do really is just check this diaphragm. And to be honest with you, the diaphragm looks good. The other thing I needed to double check was it is a chimp, and they normally had something on the side of them that I can't quite see, which sort of told you if it was a chimp Mark II or something like that. But you can see it does extend out to its full extent. You can hear it working a little bit, but the bad news here is that I'm not going to really be able to get this out without access to the bottom of the boat, which is a problem, unless I can somehow take these bolts off here and the screws will stay in situ. Yeah, it's going to be quite difficult to get this pump out because I haven't got any access to underneath here, unless I tell you what, I may be wrong about that. Let me raise a floorboard. Oh, these are just not, oh, I'm on the wrong one, that's why. Trying to lift the board I'm on. Let's lift that board. So I can get my hand under here. Let's have a quick look. No, but then this box here, as you can see, it's kind of closed there. Whoa, the boat's just tilted backwards. So yeah, you've got to basically get underneath the boat to do this, and I don't know how you do that on a trailer actually. So we'll have to think about that. The other job I've got to do is this fiberglass here, you can see is cracked. So this will just need sanding down at the same time, both sides actually. So it's had, you can see it's actually had, this side it's had a cleat in there that's caused it to crack. So that just needs redoing. Not a very difficult job. And then these cleats really need to be back plated as well. You can see there's no back plate on there. I don't know if you can actually see because of the sun now, it's creating a bit of a shadow. But what is for sure is that I can't sail without a decent bilge pump.